Good evening. It's Tuesday, May 28th, and welcome back to Everyday Talk 24/7. Again, almost sunset here. You can see the clouds in the background. They're probably gone in just a few minutes. We'll be talking, and maybe some others will replace them. But it's just such a beautiful time of day. I'm going to talk tonight. I'm going to begin talking about some things that Jesus began to teach in his Sermon on the Mount. And this sermon is truly a countercultural sermon. It was for the people in Christ's day when he was on the earth, but it's also stunningly countercultural for you and me. This is the most powerful sermon ever recorded, written down. And the Sermon on the Mount is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books, thousands and thousands of sermons. Time spent meditating on these powerful words, as we should. But let's remember the setting. Matthew is recording this. It's at the beginning of Christ's ministry. It's right after the baptism of Christ, right after the temptation of Christ. Now he calls his first disciples, and people are coming to him throughout Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness among the people. News about him spread all over Syria and beyond. Remember, Galilee is in the northern part of the kingdom, and so Syria would be an easy reach. So large crowds from Galilee, the Decapolis, the 10 cities, Jerusalem, Judea, and the region all across the Jordan followed him. So beginning of chapter 5, now we start to get the countercultural part. When he saw the crowds, he went up on a mountainside and sat down. Two things there. He doesn't go to a synagogue. He doesn't go to a place of public gathering. He goes up to a mountainside. But now, what's the next thing he does? He sits down. It just blows me away. For a sermon to impact people, to change lives, and for Jesus to sit down on a mountainside, that, brothers and sisters, is countercultural. He's speaking to people who knew the law. They're familiar with the commands of God, as indicated several times in the opening lines of the sermon. But notice when he gets done with the sermon, he says this. Now when Jesus had finished saying these things, this is in Matthew 7, 28 and 29. When Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowds were amazed at his teaching, because he taught as one who had authority and not the teachers of the law. So this is a sermon that comes off with authority. But he's sitting down on a mountainside in almost a casual manner, with the very best audio visuals imaginable, the glory of God and creation all around us. Just amazing. And he's talking to these people. And lives are being changed. Lives are still being changed by reading this sermon. It's countercultural. It's not what we're used to. It's not what God is calling us to. I mean, it is what God is calling us to, but the way we do things, we need to learn from what Jesus is saying here. You know, some of the best sound effects that could be happening are when you hear these birds in the background, birds that showed up on God's command to be a part of what you and I are doing tonight. And so he sits down and he begins to teach them. And this next series I'm working on is called 9 Rays of Light. 9 ways that Jesus wants us to be a light, to be countercultural and change our world. And We're going to be reading about those in the upcoming videos. And each one of these is countercultural. But remember the setting here. This is an authoritative setting without all of our trappings of authority. Not someone yelling and screaming from the pulpit. No, not someone demanding things from you. Not some big campaign, not some big push to get more members or more money. Rather, he starts to begin to lay out something that is radically different from what these people have heard, and sadly, radically different from what you and I typically hear. We're going to look at this in depth tomorrow night. There are 9 rays of light that he's going to give us. And the first one here is, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So he's talking about gaining the kingdom of heaven. People are viewing it as authoritative, but he's sitting down on a mountainside. So he's not pacing, he's not wandering around. But through the power of the Spirit, through the conviction and commitment in his voice, lives are being changed. They were changed 2,000 years ago. They're being changed today, because these words are indeed life-changing, and they're different from anything around us. So as we get into this, let's realize that we can learn in these very calm settings that Jesus wants us to learn in. Jesus delivered this sermon that upended lives, that people viewed as authoritative, and different from all their teachings around them. People who made a big show of their authority, big show of their great depth and knowledge. And Jesus simply lays out the truth in a way that radically changes lives. I pray that my life and your life will be changed as we look at these first 9 rays of light in this marvelous setting that Jesus has given us. It's a countercultural sermon, but it's exactly what I need. And I pray it's exactly what we all need. Look forward to being engaged with you in this. Again, I love your prayers. Please continue to pray. This is a Q&A Friday week, so if you have any questions, send those in. Thank you so much for being here. And Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow. You have a great night.